That is number one. Number two, we want to involve our parents also. So the parents are now aware that the kind of activities their children, their wards go through, so that they are ready for the industry. It's a very good initiative. It is very good because a parent has readily agreed for that. So that is something very special for us. And I wish to congratulate HOD of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department to initiate this kind of a novel idea. Very good, sir. And your team is small. So hopefully by next year we will have more number of people. Presently, we are having IT and CSC. We want to include those children also in this kind of meetings. Thank you, sir, and warm welcome once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, namaskar and best wishes to all the students who are now today present. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words, sir. Now, I would like to introduce our chief keynote speaker of the day, Mr. Bhaskar Ramakrishnan, sir. He is currently a senior database administrator and assistant vice president in Citibank, Chennai. He has 25 years of experience in IT industry in supporting Sysbase ASC, Sysbase Replication Server, Sysbase IQ, and MS SQL Server, Oracle, and PostgreSQL. He has also worked as project leader in Wipro Technologies and as a consultant from Emilio Globesoft Private Limited for the client UBS in UBS Singapore, and as a consultant from Comtel Solution Private Limited for the client Credit Suisse Singapore. He had also played an important role in development, testing, and implementation of the projects Investor Cash Services System and Payroll Management System. We are really happy to have you with us today, sir. I would like to invite Mr. Bhaskar Ramakrishnan, sir, to take over the session. The session is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I really appreciate this event because for all the students, not only theoretical or only the subject-wise knowledge is required. They need additional knowledge about the industry, how they are going to face the future after completing the degree. And they should be well aware what is going on outside the world, right? So this is a very good innovative event, and I appreciate everyone who overall brought up this idea and supporting this event. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about a database management system. I have 25 years experience in this field, and I started my career on development, like a database, right, programming, and then I moved to core database support. Okay, so as she mentioned, like I mean, wherever I worked, like I worked in Wipro Technologies, and mostly I worked in Singapore banks, UBS, Credit Suisse, and now I'm in Citibank. Okay, so still I'm in, say, working in Citibank Singapore. I'm going to move in Citibank Chennai. Okay, so maybe this end of this month or early next month. So let me share my. So shall we start the demo? I mean, PPT.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I'll share my screen. Okay, able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, today we are going to talk about the current trends and needs of DBMS in industry, right? So this is the first slide. I mean, we are going to talk about what is data. I know everybody is aware about what is database and I mean, the knowledge about the basic knowledge about the database, right? So, but still I want to start from the beginning to give you a clear understanding about the database and how we are going to use and what is the opportunity available here. So what is data, database, and usage? Data is nothing but informations, right? A collection of informations. Okay, I will give you the sample about your textbooks, right? So just imagine your textbooks with the index page and then content of that book. Okay, I'll give you example later. What is the data? Data is the information. Information is about anything, right? So anything means everything, okay? So whatever the information you are collecting with respect to the particular field, okay? So it's all data. And database is, it's a how you're going to manage the data, like saving all the informations into one system, okay? And that is called a database, okay? And the usage is how we are going to use the data. For example, in your room, if you have multiple, like many books, okay, many books, and if you want to select one particular book, and without organizing the data of books, you cannot easily pick up that book what you want, right? So you need to segregate the data first in order to use that data, okay? So database is the system to store all the collections informations, okay, so that it will be easy to use for further requirement or whatever the purpose you're going to use. So that will be very easy, okay. So how the data is storing means it's a rows and columns, okay. It's this is stored as a record. You can we are calling it as a record. Record is columns and rows, okay. So data is storing like that. Data structure in RDBMS. RDBMS initially database, it's a small like a DBase, Foxbase and all olden stage database, and that is not a relational database. So now industries are using RDBMS relational database, okay. So that is very structured way of storing the data and easy to access the data. Okay, so for example, now we are using Sybase, MS SQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, and NoSQL, and we have many database available in industry. And all the industries, they will first select like what is the RDBMS required and suitable for their requirement. And then they will go for that database. Okay, and they will check the feature. For example, multiple RDBMS, since multiple RDBMS is available, and each RDBMS will have a own facility and functionality, and all the industry, they will first check like which RDBMS is suitable for their requirement, and then they will go for it. Okay, so that's how industries are selecting the RDBMS. There is no mandatory that everybody has to go with the one particular RDBMS. Okay, hope everybody understand. So now operations in database, whatever the RDBMS you select, like Oracle or okay, one more point, right? The RDBMS, right? It's a keep on changing, but like every time the changes is happening, and everybody improving their product, and they are releasing the versions, right, on their own product. For example, Oracle have own versions, and whenever they wanted to implement a new thing, they will implement a new portion, and then they will release with a new version number. The same way, all the RDBMS, Oracle, SQL, PostgreSQL, all the RDBMS, they will have their own features, and they will keep on releasing the new version with the latest updates. Okay, so whatever the RDBMS, these are below the operations in database is the main concept and activity in the RDBMS. Okay, here in operations in database, we can segregate two major things. One is programming, another one is administration. Programming is like writing the coding, and the application design. Database connectivity is the major 3 points. For example, if you're going to start one company, for example, what do you call, like any marketing field, warehouse. If you take warehouse also, first you will have some idea like how we are going to design the screen, what is the input you are going to give, and how it should work, how it should pick up that data, and whatever the information you require, how you are going to fetch the data from the database. All those are the primary functionality before using the database, because without having the vision, you cannot achieve what you want, right? So that you need the design first, how you are going to do it, okay? And then coding and the logic for application requirement. Logic is not common for all the industry. So whatever, whoever going to use, they have some own logic and they will implement in that programming, right? And then database connectivity. Database connectivity, the coding will connect to the database to get the data from the database so that it will give you in the clear format. Okay, so and the same way it will store the data into the database. So you need the connectivity between the front end and the back end. Front end means a tool. It's a front end utility tool who users can enter the data or fetch the data. Okay, that is a front end tool, that is application, and that will connect to the database to store or retrieve the data. Okay, so these two portions. So database connectivity will vary based on the RDBMS what you use. For example, Oracle will have different connectivity settings. Sybase will have different connectivity settings. The same way, each RDBMS will provide the connectivity string to connect the data. Okay, so these are the main things in programming. So in the programmers, right? In the programmers, they will coordinate with the users. Users means who's going to operate the system. They will collect the data, how they want the data, all these things, and they based on that they will write the coding, and they will present the screen. Okay. Administration is the another section that is managing the database. Okay, two different things. So administration is like creating the database that is allocating a separate area to store the data. Okay, so that is called the database creation. So database administrators will create the database so that later that space can be used by the programmers, okay, to store the data, and the users will use that tool. Okay, and then user management. User management is nothing but credentials, user credentials. Like we cannot give the permissions, or it's not open to everybody, right? Otherwise, it will not be have any security system. Everybody can log in and they will spoil the database, right? So everybody need a user login and the permission, record permission to access the data. Okay, that is also coming under administration. So that administrator will create the login and give the necessary permission to use the data. Okay, inside the data, again, they can restrict whether they can read, write, or only read permission. Okay, so we have granular level segregation, access level segregation. So based on the requirement, administrator will grant the permission to the user. Okay, and then database maintenance. Database maintenance, we are collecting and storing the data. Without maintenance, it's not easy to access, right? As I said in the earlier, right? If you in your room, you have multiple books, right? And if you want to pick up one book, and if it's not ordered, it will be very difficult. But if you arrange the books in a proper order, and you know which order is there, and you can easily go and pick up the book, right? The same way the textbook have index column in a first page. Okay, if you see the first page and you know like what is there on which page, and you can directly go to the page and get the data. The same way here, data needs to be managed so that you can get the data easily, right? But we are telling that index management, right? We are using index. We have different types of index in all the RDBMS. Okay, you need to maintain the index order so that whenever you need the data, so user can directly go and fetch the data and show to the user. So if index is not maintained properly, then it will struggle to get the data, so that it will use more resource on the system and the performance will be slow. So that's why maintenance is very much important on the database. Okay. The next one is the backup and recovery. Backup and recovery is, all the points are very much important. Okay, so we cannot ignore anything. Backup and recovery in case of any system crash, right? So all the industries will have daily backups and transactional backups. Okay, we have multiple types of backups, and based on the industry requirement, they will choose the backup system. For example, if less critical project or industry, and if they are okay to have daily backup, like end of the day, if they are taking the backup in the evening, and if next day, if the system crashes, and if they are okay to lose the data in the till next day evening, then okay, we can go with the daily backup, which is happening in the evening. But critical systems like banks and very money related, and who's not ready to lose any transactions because of system crash, they will go for the transactional backups. Okay, like every 15 minutes backup will happen. Whatever the transactions happening, every 15 minutes it will store as a file. And whenever you need to recover, you need to restore from the full backup from the yesterday evening backup, and then restore the transactional backup, so that most of the data will be recovered if any system crash. And we are using replication system also. For example, if more critical systems, right, like the marketing, stock market, or the banks also, like banks also having multiple sections, and less critical and high critical systems also there, based on the functionality. Okay, some systems, they need replication. They don't want to lose any transactions, even 5 minutes or 2 minutes also. In that case, entire database will replicate into another database system. Okay, online basis. So whatever the write happening here, and the primary server, and all the records will be writing into the secondary server also. In case of any crash in the primary server, and immediately you can bring up into the secondary server, so that there is no data loss. Okay, so based on the industry requirement, they have to opt like what is there in the market. Okay, so we cannot commonly put one system for all the industry. It varies based on the requirement. Okay, and then performance tuning. Performance tuning also very important topic. For example, if you take a bank transaction, okay, when you withdraw money, online transactions, you are getting OTP number, right? In case if you are not getting OTP number on time, maybe you are 10 seconds or 30 seconds or 5 minutes, if you are not getting any OTP number, then think about the user will panic, and how they will react, right? So the system should be sufficient enough, fast to provide the information as soon as possible. Okay, so those type of operations should use the should use the relevant database systems. Okay, I'll tell you like what are the databases available, why I'm telling this one. Okay, so database is not common. We have a transactional database, and then the data warehouse. Okay, and big data, we have many things. And for this transactional, whatever the like minutes and seconds important for the industry. Okay, so they will go for the transactional database, and the performance is very much important. Otherwise, they will lose the business. Okay, that is very critical in the online transactions. Okay, so for any questions or any doubts, or shall I move? Okay, I'll move then. Okay, so here is the database types, right? So current trends in database. Here I mentioned RDBMS, data warehouse, big data, database as a service, that is a cloud, and automation, right? RDBMS, I explained how what is the RDBMS and what are the types, right? And data warehouse is another type of database. Okay, and this is not for the online transactions. As I said, the OTP, the money transactions, everything's right. They are not using the warehouse, because warehouse is a big volume. Okay, that is useful to take a decision. You can use it for report purpose. For example, this is historic. You can store the historical informations. First one I told you, RDBMS, Oracle, SQL, and all, right? That is and all online transactions. okay, you can minimize the historical informations, meaning it's a live transaction. Live transaction maximum you can have 1 month transaction or 2 month transaction, but you cannot have a last year or the 5 years transactions. You can have, but that may impact the performance. Okay, so mostly they will purge the data in the online transaction database and they will store it in the warehouse. So warehouse will have the historical data that will be useful to take a decision. For example, you want to analyze the trend about the last 5 years of a particular product, right? And you can use the warehouse database. So you will have 5 years data or 10 years data. You can generate the report, how the trend is going about your sales and what needs to be done. Okay, so the decision making will be good if you have historical information, right? So this is a separated database system which is suitable for high volume, okay, for the decision making system. And you can also for transactions, but not that much efficient as our DBMS. Okay, this is data warehouse. And big data, and one more thing is data warehouse is it's a structured basis. Okay, and you can get multiple inputs. For example, multiple system. You can give multiple systems input to data warehouse, but within the structured format. Okay, and you can select a query to find like how many products are sold or whatever the details you want to get it as a whole. That will help you for decision. Big data is structured, non-structured, or semi-structured, whatever. For example, in YouTube, right? If you everybody is collecting our data, right? Everybody calling us without knowing, because we are not giving number, but we are getting call from them. Okay, they are collecting our data, they are keeping somewhere, and they are calling us, and they wanted to improve their business, so that they are collecting the data from us somewhere. Okay, so big data also used for the large volume of data. For example, if you listen one song and the second pattern, that analyzes what is your interest, and automatically it goes based on your interest. So that is not structured data, that is unstructured data, but still it's capable to handle that unstructured data. So that's why they are using big data. So all the social medias are using the big data. Okay, so that, because for example, if you are using a Google search, right, everybody cannot use the same pattern to search the string. So they will use the keyword whatever they know, but the system should understand what is their requirement, and they will give you the patterns. So what are all matching for the search? Okay, so that is not structured. Okay, so that's why they are using for big data, for unstructured data, and to handle large volumes of data. Okay, so these are the three types. And another one, the latest is database as a service. In all the industry, they have to build the infrastructure to have the proper system to manage the business. Okay, so for example, if we are opening a company, you need to have the network, internet connection, systems, and the backup. In case of power failure, it needs to continue, right? You need to backup, and you need to and then a light, fan, or whatever, that is called infrastructure. Everything should be ready, and should be owned by the person. If you are starting up a company, if you want 10 systems you want to put, means you need to pay for 10 systems, and then a backup, and then administration, that you need to hire a person to manage the systems, right? So one person, and then salary, electricity, and all the maintenance, right? Nowadays, what's happening? All the infra is available in cloud, so you no need to struggle or pay that much cost. For example, if you are spending that much money to build the infrastructure at your home or office, whatever, and tomorrow you don't want, and you don't want that system, or you are moving to some other business which is not required for this one, right? So you need to sell this systems, and it will be loss for you. For that, now you can go for a cloud system. Cloud means everything is available in the third party, and you can just avail the service. So whatever you use, you can pay. You can, for example, everything is ready. You can select what RDBMS you want for your business. You can select and you can use it. If you don't want, you can close it. So what you can pay whatever you used. That's it. So no headache. So no setup cost, no loss also. That's why everybody is moving into cloud and as a service. So here in the earlier slide, I told like database creation, user management, maintenance, and all automated, and very easy. Here and all manual commands we need to give, and in a cloud and database service, all user friendly. Like in GUI, you can click and it will do for you. Okay. So example, database creation. If I'm writing a command, I have to remember the command. I need to give the command to create the database. Whereas in cloud, you can just click that button, it will create a database for you. So that much easy nowadays. In other, also you need to check for the security, because when you are going for the cloud, right, you need to check the security systems, how suitable for your business, how safe for your business. So you need to check and go. Okay. And then automation. Automation is the latest, very important one. Earlier, we used many manpower to do all this works, but now everybody is smart. Everybody wanted to make the system fast with less effort, right? That's why everything they wanted to automate. Okay. So whatever the possible in current industry also, who are not moving to cloud and having the old systems, still they wanted to automate the day-to-day activity, so that at least it will reduce that time, effort, man effort, everything. It will reduce. Whoever ready to pay, ready to close that old setup and go for cloud, and they can move it. Okay. So, and also it depends on the industry. Everybody cannot take a same decision. That they know what they want, and based on that they have to select which one is good for their requirement, and based on that they will do it. But automation is required for everything. It's a general. Okay. So needs of DBMS in industry. So for all the industry, they need to save the data. Without data, they cannot do anything. For analysis, to run the business, even for a startup company, everything they need the data, right? So for example, if you want to start a new company, first you need to analyze the market. Okay. So where are you going to open the company? What company you are going to open, and how about the surroundings? So and how can sell you a product? Like the demand should be there in that location, right? Or if you are online, that is different thinking. But still, you need to analyze all the factors before starting a new company, right? So that is the factors you are collecting, right? That is called data. So without data, you cannot think about the new company also, and without data, you cannot go further. So data is very much important, and you need to save it in one place. Then only you can analyze further. Second stage, first collecting the data and then segregating, and then you can visualize like how it will be. Then only you can move on, right? So without that analysis, you cannot go further. So data is that much important for everything. Okay. So whatever the business you start, that is very much important before doing it. Okay. So that's one. The companies, banks, okay, service industry, mobile network, social media like YouTube. As I said, the companies, industry is different, as I already told, right? Industry is different, and they need to use DBMS based on their requirement. Banks also, they know what they want to store, and they cannot simply migrate to the new platform immediately, because banks all have standards. Even banks having their own engineering team, they can, for example, if bank is going to use Oracle database, they cannot simply buy a Oracle product and use it. They have engineering system. they will check and they will implement everything. Everything is controlled. So even though new DBM is coming, RDBM is coming, or new technology is coming, first the engineering team will think and decide whether that is suitable or not. Okay, then after the decision only they will go for the new product, and they will implement with the development UAT. UAT means user acceptance test, and then production. It's not simply like a new product came and everybody is saying good product, good RVMS. They will not simply go it. They will analyze, they will test it, and then they will implement. That is the process to manage the banks as well as all the industries, because it's all cost involved, money involved, manpower involved, everything. So you need to analyze properly whatever you're doing, right? The service industry, so mobile network also, right? They are also having our database. Our data, there, as I told, right? I mean, everybody is calling for a new net connection, or the property, and the bank loans, right? So they are having our data and they are calling it. They are also having the database. So without databases, they cannot improve their sales, or they cannot improve their business. That's why they are having our data in their database. Okay. So last one is the analyze data for startup and running company. Okay. So I just mentioned, right, for startup company, you need to get all the data, and then you will get a picture, and then you can decide whether we can go it or not, right? The same way running company also, they need to analyze what happened, how we ran the company, what is the profit, or how any mistakes have done, or how to improve the business. All these things can be done based on the data analysis only. Without analyzing the data, the previous historical data for the company, they cannot improve their business. Okay. So for running company also, they need to maintain the data, and it will help them to take a decision. Okay. Okay. So any questions or any clarifications required on this? Okay, fine. I'm going. Okay, job opportunities. Okay, so I just mentioned 3 points in here. Primary quality, since you're all students, right? So primary quality, what I will tell you is attitude. Attitude is very much important. Okay, doesn't matter what technical stuff you're going to learn and do it, but attitude is very much important. Okay, so you have to be ready to observe, and you need to have the curiosity to learn things. Okay, technical things you can learn anytime. For example, if you join the company, if a new thing's coming, if you are ready to accept the new things, and if you are really interested, and if you are really interested, and you need to cooperate with the team, then your success will be very fast. Okay. Even in other words, if you're a very technical guy, and you are adamant and not cooperating with the team members, and you are not accepting to learn the new things, okay, then still you cannot success in future. Okay, you'll be stagnated, right? And you will not know what is new in the field. Okay, so even though if you are growing and if you are well talented, doesn't mean that you know everything. So always be ready to learn, ready to accept the changes, and continue to learn everything. Don't think that I know everything, so no, nothing to learn. Okay, because we don't know, like, where you will get the important things from whom, right? So whatever the things passing to you, just try to observe, try to grab. Okay, that will help you wherever you go. So that is the primary quality, apart from technical, I would say. Okay, so mostly when the interview come, right, so they will check your attitude, how the person is, like whether he is really interested or is ready to learn. Okay, one underline word, just remember, if you know one particular technical thing, right, for example, Oracle database, if you know Oracle database, don't think that Oracle database is used in all the industry the same way. Okay, different method they will use to for their requirement. Okay, so if you know the Oracle, doesn't mean that you can work all the teams. You need to get into this company, and you need to understand the environment. That is called environment. Okay, how that environment is using the RDBMS, that is different from each company, even though core is Oracle. Okay, so whatever the technical knowledge you have doesn't mean that you can work everywhere. First, you need to get into the company. You need to understand how they are using that technical stuff. You need to cooperate with them. You need to learn from them. You cannot directly go and log in and continue the support. You cannot give the support immediately on the day one. So you need to, the environment will vary based on the company, even though technical is same. Okay, so you need to have the the learning capability you should have, and then politely handle the situation. You need to obey your manager so that it will be easy to get the knowledge, or for your career also, that will be very much useful. Okay, next is technical quality. Technical quality is, it's very much important, but it's coming as a second time. Okay, because if you, for example, now you know a little bit knowledge about Oracle. The interviewer checking, you are attending the interview, and then they are thinking that you are a good candidate and very observe candidate, and they are having confidence that you can learn. Then they will give you the opportunity. Okay, but if you are answering very well, but your attitude is not good. For example, if they are asking question, the way of answering tells them like how you are, right? If you are denying, and then the speech also matters, right? And they will think that, okay, this guy is technically good, but he is not suitable for our requirement, and because he will not do whatever we are telling, right? So the management will deny. There is a chances to deny the guy who technically is sound, but attitude is bad. Okay, so your attitude should be first primary, and the technical is second, and job search is third. Job search, we have multiple sites, right? You need to find out like what, I mean, you already know like many sites are available, and check like what are the platforms they are using and what you know, so that you can usually select the right industry, and you can go on, because all the industry not using all the platforms. Okay, each industry will have their own requirement, so that they will have own they will use their RDBMS or the front end tool, Java, whatever. So it varies. So first to find out like what are they using it, and whether you are suitable for that or not, so that it will be it will give more chance to attend the interview. If your technical qualification is not suitable for that industry, they will not call for interview at all, right? So it's a waste of time for them also, and for you also. First, you need to check like what they are using it, and whether you are aware or not, and you need to approach them. Okay, so this is my guidance from my experience, and any questions or anything you want to know, please let me know.
Thank you so much for this wonderful informative session, sir.
Thank you.
I would also wish to express our gratitude for providing encouragement and new ideas to set up our future ahead. Now the session is open for doubts. Participants can ask your doubts.
Yeah, so, sir, principal here again. Once again, I want to just give my fullest appreciation. You have done our job, literally. So we want students to have a positive attitude. You mentioned on the various skills, the technical part, And one little background of myself. I am from HCL. I've been with HCL before, and I have seen in HCL the best qualification is IIT Kanpur Computer Science and IIM Ahmedabad Finance, MBA Finance, and those guys get fired for lack of attitude and soft skills. So you are bang, you hit it bang on the head, sir. Attitude is number one. This is the first point I want to concur with you and share my experience in one sentence to my students also. The second point that I wish to share is that AI and DS today, that batch has got amongst the best students in the state, amongst the best. And already they have partnered two students with biomedical, and they won a hackathon, 3D hackathon about 10 days back through PALS. PALS is IIT, ex-IIT professionals doing an amazing service to the society and the nation at large. They are conducting these kind of technical events, and our students won the first prize. This is an all India level activity. So they are no less to anybody. Why am I telling both these points is we have an elaborate training sessions for placement as well. And I don't want any of my student to be happy with a 3.5 lakh job. I don't want to mention that those kind companies name. It is very easy to settle for the 3 lakh company, but please look at big companies like Citibank, look at Morgan Stanley, where the starting salary is more than 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs. I think that should be our objective, and that should be the objective of the students. So these are the 2 points that I want to share, sir. But it
Thank you,
is
sir.
an amazing talk you have given. I wish
Thank you,
to
sir.
congratulate
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you,
Amazing.
sir.
That's too good. Phenomenal. Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
So the students can come up, and I wish to tell to all students, don't think, oh, this question is so simple. Somebody might call me by some name. There is no question that is simple question. No, all questions are very important. So please come up with questions. You should know to ask questions. Okay. However simple it might be, it talked on big data. For example, what is big data? So you can come up with the basic questions also. Nothing wrong. So please come up with all kinds of questions. The floor is all yours. Thank you once again. Yeah.
And the student side, any questions?
Yes, sir. I would like to go with my question. I'm Indu Shah.
Oh, yes.
And the credibility and security of cloud is a $1 million question. How banks are trusting their data with cloud?
Okay. See, it's right now banks having enough fund to create a cloud for their infrastructure. Okay, for example, Citibank having their own cloud. Okay, so they need to work too much with the cloud outside cloud platform. How they can achieve, how they can conquer the security system. For example, each industry having different security mechanism, right? Okay. For example, financial institutions having more security than the other infrastructure, right? So they have some standard. As I said, all the banks having their engineering team, right? And they will check with the outside cloud world, like all the security systems are like suitable for their business. If any loophole also, they will not go for it. Okay. But apart from banks, like who are ready to meet their security systems for their industry, they can go for it. It's up to them, like how they are using it. Okay. So that's what it's based on the requirement, and that confident whether we can go or not. We cannot ask others to go with a common cloud, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that depends on the industry decision maker.
Got it, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
And sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, video files are example for big data. That is how the video files stored in the databases, sir. Normally, normally that is normal database is name, age. This is stored in the SQL.
Yes.
And the video file, how will you store in the database? What format? That
Okay.
is, you can say structure, unstructured.
Okay, so they have different columns to store the data. Each platform having a different, each RDBMS having a different mechanism to store the data and access the data. For example, retrieve also vary from normal RDBMS and data warehouse. Okay, so each RDBMS having their own feature to store the image or data or the different character set for multi languages, right? So they have their own mechanism to store the data and fetch the data because they built the RDBMS for that purpose only, right? So it will be suitable.
Okay,
Then
sir.
you can explore more on the columns, what column field they are using it, how much is size they can store, how they are storing, how they are retrieving. It's a different topic to explore more on that.
Okay, sir.
And again, sir,
Yeah.
which is the most sophisticated database system which is used in banks?
First,
So basically,
Sophisticated database system.
okay. So that's what we cannot give a general statement. Okay. In general, okay, in olden days they started using one RDBMS. Okay, and the next when the next new RDBMS came, if they are ready to accept the new RDBMS for their requirement, they will go for it. But if the program is not suitable for the new RDBMS, they will not move for it. They will keep old system and they will try to manage it. Otherwise, they need to write a new code to write a new code to compatible for the new RDBMS, right? So based on the situation, they will take a decision. We cannot tell about other banks whether it's a worst or it's a or most suitable. That's they only know what is the requirement, what is needed for the banks. Even all the banks are not using the same. They may use like for example, in Citibank we are using a Sybase IQ, replication, PostgreSQL, MySQL, MongoDB. We're using multiple databases. Okay, so because we have different different departments. Okay, they have different requirements for each department. The same way, all the banks having different requirement. Okay, so we cannot commonly give a statement like what is right and what is wrong. They will use for their requirement and which is suitable for them, right? So we cannot comment anything.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
and sir, another one doubt. And how will you integrate all the databases? For example, in the Citibank, you can use all the databases. And how will you integrate in the one platform?
Okay. See, database is different, right? Not necessary to integrate all the databases because we have different departments, right? Different operations. Okay. For example, MongoDB is a file management, like that is not coming into the real-time business. We cannot combine both. They have their own mechanism. Okay, we cannot combine both. But in overall, since that is the reality, the CEO level, if he wants to take a decision in the whole company, they will get the report in the report form, how they are producing the profit, right? What needs to be done. We cannot combine the data into one. We can combine the data into one if the platform is same. For example, Sybase, Oracle, whatever relational database systems, which is organized structure, you can put into one historical database, right? for example, data warehouse. You can pull all the data into one system, and you can get a view of the data. That's used for the decision making. But the underlying system format should be same. You cannot combine the unstructured and structured one. You got it, right? Unstructured is a different. You cannot pull the data into the structured one. Structured means it records structured data only. You can combine structured data separately. You cannot combine both.
Okay.
But in the overall view, they will get the report from their department, okay, and they will take a decision for that. Here, they will get another report, they will take a decision. Maybe they can output, once they collected this, for example, if you are the manager, you have two departments. One is using a flat file system, one is using a real-time business, right? And they will, you can ask, I need a single report. I need a single report to view both the teams, how we are making the profit, right? And you can give one single format, and they can put the data in separate tool. We can use we have multiple tools available in an industry, right? So they can have separate tool. They will give the input in the same format, so that you will get a single format of both. Okay, but you cannot combine in the database, the bottom layer. You can get the report and you can combine it by using a third-party tool like that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And the first day, we successfully conducted the Parent Campus Connect series. And in future, we will conduct many events. And now, I assure our principal, sir, in our department, all the students definitely will get the good placement and around more than 30 lakhs per annum. So this is our target. And based upon the target, we have designed our curriculum, and we will conduct more event to achieve our placement, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity, and really appreciate this effort. And I can see many events you are conducting, and I mean, I really proud to have my son studying in this college. So that's.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for that. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for making everything crystal clear, sir. And participants, please fill the feedback form sent in the chat box. I would like to end this session with a vote of thanks. We are really thankful to have Mr. Bhaskar Ramakrishnan, sir, today with us. Thank you so much for taking us through this evolving world of current trends and needs of database management system in industry. I would also like to thank our participants for making use of this wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, principal, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.